Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Teen Talk Central. In this week's episode, I want to talk all about hot weather, hot temperature, and managing the summer mood swings that I feel like a lot of us have. And if you're kind of curious or wondering why that happens, kind of more towards summer seasons and maybe not during other seasons, then definitely continue to listen to this week's episode because we're going to dive deep into it and we're going to talk about the psychology behind it as well and some tips and tricks on how you can try to prevent them. Okay guys, so let's get started. I think first I want to talk about the heat, and the summer heat can kind of cause emotional flare-ups, some mood shifts. You can definitely get aggravated more easily. So let's step into the psychology behind it, as we always do. It is actually called the heat hypothesis. Basically, it's saying that when it's too hot, it triggers the hypothalamic pituitary adrenaline, and basically that means, in simpler terms, it heightens your cortisol, which cortisol is that kind of part of your body that it leads to more stress, and our brain perceives it as a physical stressor, and it can lead to emotional outbursts or lower frustration tolerance. So basically it's like you have a shorter kind of fuse to work with things. Like if someone usually does something that doesn't piss you off that much in the heat, when you're outside for a lot longer, then you can kind of get more mad easily. Which is why, like, usually if you spend a day in the sun or like tanning on the beach and stuff, maybe you notice that you can get aggravated more easily, and like things people do, like if you're driving home and someone cuts you off, it can be a bit more frustrating than it usually would be, and you might be wondering why. And it's because of that heat hypothesis idea. And the next thing that could kind of cause your mood swings is unstructured time can disrupt your emotional regulation. So usually we go to school for like 8 or 9 months of the year, and we're on a circadian rhythm. Our body's on this rhythm of like, okay, school starts at 8 or 8:30, then you wake up at 6 or something, and you might eat breakfast, go to the gym, whatever is your routine, and then you come home, you have a couple hours of homework, and then you have dinner, maybe going to work out afterwards, whatever. You have this system. But when you're at home, obviously you don't have the system where you're at school for 8 hours a day doing hours of homework on end. So then it kind of just, it makes the executive functions like focusing, decision making, and impulse control a lot more heightened, a lot more de-heightened, because you're not actually doing the things on the daily basis with the circadian rhythm, and it can really mess you up. And when you don't know what day it is or haven't had real sleep, your brain gets more reactive, because obviously your body is just like not as recharged, which is why sleep is also important. So it's like, obviously because it's summer, you can definitely stay up later and like play your video games or whatever, watch your movies or TikToks, but that also means you still have to be getting adequate amount of sleep. So that might mean instead of waking up at 5 or 6 a.m. like you did every day, maybe you sleep in until 8, so that you can, maybe go to bed at 11 or 12 and still get a comfortable 8 or 9 hours of sleep, which is really important for the body, just like recovery, memory, and everything like that. I can do a whole episode on sleep and like the importance of sleep as teenagers if you guys want as well, so let me know. Definitely your brain chemistry just starts to adjust, and it's not like laziness or boredom. It's just that your brain kind of loses that anchor of the idea of going to school every day. Next is emotional overload and social media FOMO. I mean, we've talked about FOMO in multiple episodes, but I think summer intensifies social comparison just because you have more time to go on social media and like scroll on Instagram or TikTok or Snapchat or whatever, and you might be seeing other people going on trips and in relationships or quote unquote looking hot. And I know we did an episode like 2 weeks ago about like kind of like if you're insecure, like this is what you can do, and that can definitely trigger some jealousy and sadness in certain people. I think for me, I've just kind of learned that like some people will travel all summer and others will stay back, and you can't really judge other people. Like I'm going to be traveling to Disneyland, and then I'm going to my summer camp for weeks on end, right? And like not everyone is able to do that, so obviously it's like you have to be grateful for what you can do, and some people might just be in a better state and they can travel wherever they want. But it's like, okay, if you can't travel, then what can you use your time for to kind of make it a more fun experience in summer for you? And kind of going back onto like getting triggered, it activates your default mode network, or DMN, and it's a part of your brain that kicks in when you're self-reflecting or overthinking, and it can kind of just lead to like a deep or considered thought about something. It's like a more philosophical, and like you're really trying to kind of like understand more. And if you're like doom scrolling all day and you're comparing your summer to someone else, you can feel like you're losing it, but you're actually comparing your real life to their filtered moments, because obviously every moment is not perfect, but social media is a highlight reel. Again, we've talked about this before. So just know, don't compare yourself. That's literally with anything that we've ever talked about on this podcast. Next, your brain is literally still developing. I mean, we are teenagers. I think most of us listening are probably like 15 to 18, maybe 19. And we are emotionally, like, we're just emotional. And teen emotions are naturally supposed to be more intense, because when you're a teenager, it's your brain's period of rapid rewiring. The amygdala, which is the emotional center of your brain, it's super active, while the prefrontal cortex, the rational thinking and self-control, is still developing. It still develops, I think, until you're like 25, which is why a lot of people say that like your brain, like even though when you're 18 you're an adult, you're not actually an official adult until you're like 25, 26, because that's when your brain is quote unquote done developing. And that's why mood swings hit harder in general for teenagers, and summer removes the kind of buffers that we usually have, like structure, support, movement. And your brain's still learning how to regulate the big feelings, and it's normal. And if you are experiencing big emotions this summer, it's completely fine. Like, there's nothing wrong with you, and you're just a growing teenager, and everyone experiences it. And if you're like, oh, but like people on social media, again, social media is just a highlight reel. So now I want to tell you guys kind of what helps. So cold showers, or just water exposure in general, physically lowers your stress because it kind of cools down your body. So maybe you're tanning all day and you're next to an ocean or a pool. Jump in that ocean or pool if it's safe and allowed, obviously, and just cool down your body, because not only is it fun to like swim around, but it just physically lowers the stress. Next, creating a very, very loosely guided routine. You don't have to be doing the same routine, the strict routines that you do during the school year, but just have a base routine. Like, try to wake up before maybe 7:30, go to the gym, go on a walk, eat breakfast, maybe keep up with a little bit of studying, and then, I don't know, if you have an internship or something, like just something that helps stabilize your emotional patterns, just so you kind of remember what it feels like to do kind of regular things. Next, kind of tying into that, is daily movement. It just boosts the dopamine and serotonin in your body, and those are two very important things that kind of keep us happy and stable. So, for example, for me, like, I like to go to the gym in the morning, get a good workout in, and then just Stairmaster, and then in the evenings or maybe afternoons, I like to go on a nice long walk to try to hit my 15,000 step goal. And I think just like doing whatever, like Pilates or yoga or something, like you can even invite your friends, which can kind of intertwine like a social aspect. If you want to do that with a friend, I think that's amazing, and it's a two birds with one stone situation. You get to see your friends, talk with them, but also be able to like move your body. Next is limiting passive screen time. So just reduce your comparison overload, reduce your amount of chance to compare yourself to other people, and I think that's really important. And then also naming the emotion. This is really important. It gives you back control through awareness. This is actually called the James Lang theory, and basically it's saying that like you experience an emotion and then you identify the emotion, and then it kind of like solidifies it. So maybe if you're going through one of these, you could be like, okay, I can tell I'm like mad or upset, and then it kind of just like helps your body decompress. I don't really know why it works, but it works for me, and maybe it will work for you guys. If you have any other things that work for you, definitely let us know. You guys can DM us on Instagram, on TikTok even. On TikTok. I'm definitely posting a lot more content on there. I'm doing a lot more like short form content, day in the life, stuff like that. So if that's something that interests you, definitely go follow us on TikTok. It's at Teen Talk Central, or you can go into our Instagram and click the link in our bio and you can find our website, which has all of our transcripts in 3 different languages, and then, you know, Instagram, TikTok, whatever you want, all the links are there. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this week's episode, and I will see you guys for another amazing episode next week where we're talking about more summer stuff. I love you guys so much. Bye.